Hi everybody, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic day. Before we get started, hi, my name is Teresa and I welcome you all to my channel. If you're new here and you like beggings, you like watching my get readies with me with some scary ghost stories and do makeup try-ons on here. I do animal and nature clips, I do tongue twister Thursday, I do fun fact Friday, I do a walk in the history, and sometimes I do giveaways on this channel, and guys, I do more. I do random more than just beauty on this channel. Now if you're interested in all the content that I just said, then please consider hitting the subscribe button down here on the bottom. When you hit the subscribe button, there'll be a bell. And when you hit the bell, you'll be notified of when I upload my new video. So today, guys, is get ready with me and some scary ghost stories. Woohoo, yes. Yes, today is get ready with me. I am doing this a little bit different. You will be seeing this video in the mornings. Due to I want my time to be a consistent time of all my videos. And I'm not going to be doing any premieres. If you would like to see more of my premieres and want me to start it back up, let me know in the description box and I will do that for you. But I know I don't get a lot of visits to my premieres, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a recording and let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. You ready? You ready to get scared? I am. So the palette that I'm using today is this Hip Dot palette, and it's got some fun fall colors in this palette here, and I have used it before, and these are the colors that I will be working with. Beautiful, beautiful colors. And then the primer that I always use is the Stuck On You, the Beauty Crop primer. And this is the color of it here. There we go. And the book that I have been reading, which I'm almost done with it. And by the way, guys, if you are still my returning family, or if you're new here, I have gotten the Georgia haunted book, so I can't wait to dive into that book, but we'll have to do that after we do this one. So I have been reading the West Virginia Ghost Stories, Legends, and Haunts, and this is what the book looks like. Now, guys, we're only going to do one story out of here due to it's like 5 pages long. It's about the Hatfields and McCoy. If you're not familiar, it was a feud between two families, one from West Virginia, one from Kentucky. And I don't know if they were fighting. It'll tell me, but I can't remember if it was over a cow, a pig, a chicken, or something. They were fighting over it. So, and they just hated each other. So, we're going to read that story about them. So before we do that, let's go ahead and prime the eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this on my finger, and I'll just go ahead and put that all over my lid right there. So how's everybody's day going so far? Are you going to do anything fun today? Any family activities? Are you going to festivals or um, hay rides or anything? Let me know in the comments. I love to hear what you guys are doing. Or are you just staying home to relax? Because that's probably what I'm going to do. Or we might go out. I don't know. So, just priming my eyes all over. And it makes my eyes look really, really white. All right, so what I like to start off with is the crease of my, or not a crease of my eye, the all over eyeshadow, which I usually use a lighter base for that. So the color that I'm going to use, it's a lot of fallout, is the Sandstone right here. We're going to use that one right there. And the brush that I am using is this little fluffy brush right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that all over my eyelid. Do you guys enjoy my ghost stories on here? Do you guys enjoy getting ready with me? Let me know in the comments. I like to know what everybody's preferences is about this video. Do I need to change it up? I am thinking, if you watch my Tongue Twister Thursdays, I am thinking about doing away with that. Probably no longer do that, but we'll be doing something different. I'm not sure. Due to a lot of people don't watch it, and it is kind of childish, but like I said, I like to make people laugh and everything, and that's why I do it. But I want people to enjoy my videos and not be so scared away with the way I act sometimes. But I am who I am. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So that's just an all over base look. Now I'm going to start with the crease in my eye, which I like to use this brush right here. And let's see, what color do we want to use? Let's use this. It's called Narrows. It's like a kind of like a purple. That looks like it's pretty. So let's go ahead and use that in the crease of my eye. There is a little bit of fallout. It's not too bad. But I'm just going to put that right here in the crease. I mean, you could have colors like that in fall time, right? Needs a little bit more. And just like that. So let's go ahead and get started on the story, and then we'll do more of the eyes. So like I said, this is about 4 or 5 pages long. And like I said, this took in place in Mingo and Logan County, West Virginia, and Pike County, Kentucky. The spiritual remains of feuding families, Hatfields and McCoy. And here's a picture of Randolph Randall, or old Randall McCoy. There's a picture of that guy. Okay. It says, so about those Hatfields and McCoys and the few ghosts that hang around their story. In all reality, they would be just two families living opposite each other on the tug fort of the Big Sandy River, with homes scattered up and down the small creeks and the valleys if it were not for the feud. The Randolph McCoy family lived mostly on the Pike County, Kentucky side. The family owned a 300-acre farm and livestock and dealt in illegal moonshine. Almost all the McCoys residing in the area fought for the Confederacy in the Civil War, except Asa Harmon McCoy, who was a younger brother of Randolph and who fought for the Union. And here's a picture of William Anderson, and they called him Devil Ants, Hatfield, and Asa. Oh, it's Asa Harmon McCoy. And that's what they look like. On the other side, the William Anderson Devil aunts, I don't know if you say aunts or aunts, Hatfield family was mainly from Mingo County, West Virginia. The Hatfields had a pretty successful timbering business and employed more than a dozen men, sold illegal moonshine, and fought on the Confederate side. They were both prominent families in a rural area and hardly much different than any other families struggling in the late 1800s during a civil war and standing on the cups of a coal mining revolution. That is until 37-year-old Asa Harmon McCoy mustered for the Union side with a broken leg on December 24th of 1864. He re-enlisted but was sent home on leave to mend his wounds. He came home to a chilly welcome from his Southern sympathizing family and warning from the Logan Wildcats, Confederate Home Guards, that told him they were going to visit him. Devil Anse Hatfield created this particular company of about 85 militia men to help in patrolling and protecting the valley around the Tug Fork during the war. Only 13 days after Asa Harmon had returned home, and only a few months before the end of the Civil War, he had gone out to take water from a nearby well, hearing gunshots. He found refuge in a cave along Blue Spring Creek. And this is the site of Asa Harmon and McCoy's murder, about 7 miles from Matewan Big Blue Spring Road. That's what that picture looks like. It says his slave Pete brought him food. He was still wounded and suffering from lung fever. It did not take long for one of the Logan Wildcats to find Pete's tracks in the snow. He followed the steps to the cave where Asa Harmon McCoy was hiding. On January 7th, 1865, Asa Harmon was shot and killed. James Vance, a tall and heaviest uncle of Devil Anse Hatfield and a member of the Logan Wildcats, was the suspected killer. Authorities issued no warrants for the murder, and his wife's sworn statement after his death was killed by rebels while returning to his regiment. But there was a bit of a grudge that began to fester like an open wound between the two families. Relations became more rancid as the years went on, including land disputes in the 1870s. Violence would erupt again in the autumn of 1878. When Randolph McCoy was visiting relatives and happed upon a valuable hog in a field of Floyd Hatfield, a cousin of Devil Anse, that appeared to have the notched ear markings of his hogs. Alright, so we're going to stop there and finish up my eyes. I'm going to finish up the eye look, and then I'm going to get off here and put all my other makeup on and do something with my hair, and then we'll read the rest of the story. Does that sound fun? Does it sound interesting? I've always found that story very interesting. Alright, so we're just going to do the lid right here with this flat brush, and the color I'm going to do them on there. We'll do the mystery one right here. That pretty one right there. We're just going to tap that on the bottom right here. And it matches my shirt that I have on. I'm just now realizing that. Just right on the bottom. And then I'm going to touch it up a little bit and get some of the stuff wiped off. The excess that falls on my cheek and under my eye. Just like that. What do you guys think? Is it pretty? Like it? Then I like to do some kind of coloring up here, which I'm going to use called Wonderlist. This one right here, this peachy tone. And I'm just going to put that right up there and then I'll blend it out. I'm just going to take this brush and I'm just going to blend it out just a little bit so it doesn't look too bad. Both sides. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I'm going to finish up everything and do a little bit of touch up on my eyes. And then we'll do the results and we'll read the rest of the story. And I will see you in a second. Hi everybody, I am back. I went ahead and touched up my eyes, guys. What do you guys think? Did it come out good? Is it pretty? Does it kind of look like fall? I don't think I did too bad. I think it's actually pretty. So I went ahead and put on my foundation, my concealer, my highlighter, my mascara, my eyeliner, and a lippy, and did something with my hair. I know it's crazy looking and really, really gray today, but oh well. It'll do. So did I do good? Give me one more look. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Alright, so let's go ahead and finish up our story, and then we are going to wrap things up. So, here we go. Alright, so this is the trail cabin right here. It says, Randolph accused Floyd of pinning up the hog, and Floyd denied the claim. They brought it to the preacher Anderson Once Hatfield's attention, and he presided over the dispute at his cabin. A relative of both parties, Bill Stanton, affirmed it was Floyd's hog. Not long after, in a fight with Sam and Paris McCoy, Bill Stanton was killed. His two killers were acquitted. Amidst this drama, there was a bit of romance and a betrayal in the story to fuel the feud's fire. It would occur at the same locale as the hog trial cabin along Blackberry Creek at a local election gathering in 1880, when 22-year-old Rosanna McCoy, Randolph McCoy's daughter, stumbled upon 19-year-old Johnson Johnce Hatfield, Devil Aunts Hatfield's son. This is a picture of Rosanna McCoy and Johnson Johnce Hatfield. There's two right there. Johnce was already a notorious bootlegger and known ladies' man. Rosanna and Johnce slipped away for a few hours, and when they returned, almost everyone had left for the day, including Rosanna's brother, who had taken her to the event. Fearing the reaction of her parents, Rosanna McCoy rode home with Johnce Hatfield to his family home. The two hit it off quite well for a while, and despite the romance was forbidden by both sides of the family. It was continued, and Rosanna became pregnant with Johnce's child. Rosanna moved in with the Hatfields for a short time on the promise Johnce would marry her still. Johnce was seeing other girls, including her young cousin. When Randolph McCoy learned of the affair, he had refused to speak to his wayward daughter, knowing a marriage would be doomed regardless. Even the Hatfields would not support the relationship going further. Such as soured, discouraged, Rosanna left to live with her Aunt Betty McCoy along the Tug Fork. This is a picture of Rosianna's baby's grave. Aww. Still, Johns continued to visit Rosianna off and on, and it angered her brothers greatly. Acting as deputies in retaliation, they planned to have Johns Hatfield arrested for old warrants. They apprehended him and took off for the Pike County Jail. For the safety of Johns, Rosianna made a midnight ride to warn Devil Aunt Hatfield of the plans, which eventually led to Johns's safe return home. Despite her bravery, Johns left Rosianna to marry her cousin, 15-year-old Nancy McCoy. Her father would not forgive her for turning her back on the family, and she would never return home. Rosianna and Johnson's baby, Sarah Elizabeth, little Sally, died with measles before she was a year old. The ill-fated Rosianna lived to be 30 years of age. The feud continued to gain force. Probably the most horrible incident was yet to come on Election Day, August 7th, 1882, when a fight broke out on the election grounds along Blackberry Creek in Kentucky between 29-year-old Tolbert McCoy, Randolph's son, and 39-year-old Ellison Hatfield, Devil Ance's brother. And here is a picture of the Hatfields around 1897. Picture of them. Two of the Tolberts' younger brothers, Farmer, age 19, and Randolph Jr., age 18, rushed to help Randolph Jr. to stab Randolph Jr. stabbed Ellison Hatfield with a small pocket knife he had in his pocket. Farmer snatched up a pistol and shot Ellison in the back just before he hit Tolbert in the head with a stone. Ellison Hatfield was taken down to Blackberry Creek to see a doctor. Meanwhile, the McCoys ran to the woods. Later, the men were apprehended by Kentucky lawmen, the Hatfields, and placed into the custody of the Justice of the Peace. However, the McCoy brothers were intercepted and seized by Walt Hatfield and Elias Hatfield, convincing the lawmen to turn the three over to them for a civil trial at Blackberry Creek. The young men were escorted across the Tug Fork to West Virginia, away from the law. At this point, Ellison was still alive. Sarah McCoy pleaded for her son's release. Devil Anse said that if Ellison lived, he would bring the three men back to Kentucky alive. On August 9th, 1882, news was released that Ellison had died from his wounds. Told you this story is very long. And this is the area of the pawpaw tree incident. Yes, we have trees that are called the pawpaw tree. The three young men were taken to a pawpaw grove tied to trees and shot to death. The event would be known as Pawpaw Tree Incident. In 1886, a couple of Hatfields went across the river to Kentucky and beat Mary McCoy Daniels and her 16-year-old daughter, Victoria. Her 27-year-old brother, Jeff McCoy, tried to chase the Hatfields down. 22-year-old Cap Hatfield and Tom Wallace killed Jeff McCoy on the Tug Fork banks. The governor called for the arrest of the murderers and placed a bounty on the men's head. And this is, I guess, the remains of the McCoy's house. A little bit of the land. It came to a head on New Year's night of 1888. The Hatfields ambushed a Randolph McCoy home and lit it on fire to flush the family out. A 2-hour battle ensued. Randolph escaped into the woods with his toddler grandson, 26-year-old Calvin. Randolph's son was shot and killed. 30-year-old Affair McCoy, crippled by polio, tried to get water from a pump to extinguish the fire. She was unharmed but shot dead. Her mother, running to the woman's side, was beaten badly. It's a very, very sad story. Another picture of the homestead here has to maybe descend people who are related to the families. And are there ghosts at the old homestead? I asked Neil Warren that question. Neil lives not a stone's throw away from where the old McCoy cabin stood, and loves to greet guests visiting the grounds, giving them all the interesting and little known facts about the site. He told me he's not much of a believer, although he respects those who are not as skeptic. Still, he divulged that he was quite surprised when a gentleman with a ghost box modified radio that scans radio frequencies for communicating with the dead stopped in one day and asked to walk the property. The ghost box reacted with a few sayings that could not quite be coincidental. At the grassy area where the old McCoy homestead was burned to the ground by the Hatfields, there were three words stated: blood hot fire. And then just more little pictures here. The little boy, and then near the area where Randall McCoy corralled his oxen and horses, the ghost box repeated, animals coop. On January 18, 1888, Kentucky authorities rounded up 9 of the murderers in what was to be called the Battle of the Grapevine Creek. Special Officer Frank Phillips came in with the posse. The Hatfields were fully armed and waiting. This is the hanging of 26-year-old Ellison. They're getting ready to hang him. They clashed at Grapevine Creek, killing 2 of the Hatfield gang. They rounded up the rest of the Hatfields, and they spent years in court. When it was all said and done, 8 of the killers were found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. The only one executed the 9th was mentally disabled son of Ellison Hatfield, Ellison Mounts, or Cotton Top, who pleaded guilty, then tried to change his plea. On February 18th, 1890, officials hanged him in Kentucky's last execution. His last words were, "They made me do it. The Hatfields made me do it." And then here's a picture of Devil Ansing and his 14 of offspring family. I heard once that of the Hatfield girls wrote, "There is no place like home," on a white pillow sitting on a chair on the family's front porch. Someone in passing, a stranger, no less, added this in ink beneath. At least this side of hell. At least this side of hell. Eventually the feuding would rot away in the same way a raccoon left dead on a highway disperses to the wind. Randolph and Sarah McCoy moved to Pikeville. Randolph died on March 28, 1914. Many of the McCoys, including Rosianna Randolph and Sarah McCoy, are buried in the Dills Family Cemetery in Pikeville, Kentucky. And then these are the graves here. Ans Hatfield spent his last years quietly on his farm. In 1911, he was baptized by an old friend, Uncle Dyke Garrett, who was also the famous preacher who spent his life riding his old mule up and down the mountains to visit the sick and to preach to those who would listen. And here is more pictures of the gravesite. On January 6, 1921, at age 82, Hatfield died from the pneumonia and was buried in Hatfield Cemetery outside the town of Sarah Ann. The ghost of Ans Hatfield and his sons remain. They return on foggy nights, rising from the graves. They make a quiet march down the mountain and toward the small island creek at the bottom. When they reach the creek, Preacher Garrett rises and baptizes them, washes away all their sins, and then they disappear. And that is the last bit of the story. We are going to stop off until next weekend off on the Hatfield Tunnel Creeping Crawler. So there you have it, the Hatfield and McCoy feud. It did involve a hog, but these people were just messing around on other people's properties, and it turned out into a bloody battle between the families, and then it's just a very, very sad story. But I've always been interested in the story. I've heard so many things. I'm not related to the family as far as I know. I could be, but I'm not. But it, like I said, it's a very true tragedy story. What you guys think about that one? Have you heard of it? Let me know in the comments. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I hope everybody stays Hold on one second. All right, I do apologize about that. My camera decided to cut out. I'm not for sure where I left off at, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I hope everybody stays blessed. And I hope everybody stays safe no matter where you are, no matter where you're at. Please stay safe. And I'll be seeing you all in my next video. Thank you for stopping by, and you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.